So we're at the lower body movement patterns now. As I mentioned before, the most popular one is knee dominant, like a squat, for example, like a lunge, for example. This is where knees are doing the majority of the movement here. And when you're doing a knee dominant exercise, it's mostly, I want to say, quadriceps over here. Again, not too deep into it, just kind of like here, okay? It's front of your leg, basically. And again, keeping yourself upright, your core is doing a lot. So next, I want to get into the hip hinge as well. So the knee dominant and hip stuff, they kind of counteract each other in a way, okay? So hip hinge looks like this. Now, put a weight here. You can see this is used in deadlifting quite a bit. So the hip is doing the majority of the work. However, yes, the knees are bending a bit. Now, you can do variations of deadlifting where you don't bend your leg. Straight leg deadlifting, for example. So, however, the hinge part is what we want to focus on. That, if you want to get a bit broad with it, is the posterior chain. So you have the hamstrings, but lower back, basically the back half of your body is very involved in a hinge. Okay. You can see why that'd be important in terms of posture and balance of the front, right? You also have hip dominant exercises, which would be something like a hip thrust, for example, where the hip is doing pretty much everything here. I don't really recommend doing those. You should just deadlift instead. But if you want to round out, you can do that for sure. Now, as I mentioned before, the patterns is what's important here. So if you want to do a squat, that's cool. If you want to do knee dominant patterns, you have a lot of options here. So you can do a squat, you can do dumbbell squat, kettlebell rack squat. You can do a pistol squat, for example. You don't need to be stuck with, oh, I'm doing, kettlebell rack squats. No, you're doing a knee dominant pattern, and you have a lot of options to do that with. You can, again, with the lunge, you can alter that with the weights. You can do walking lunges. You can take any bunch of weights with you. Take 2 dumbbells, take 2 kettlebells, take one of each, whatever. Doesn't really matter. The point is that the pattern is being worked, so you can have a lot more freedom with what you're doing.